Hi, I'm Joe. I'm one of the founders here at Lineup Ninja, and I'm going to talk about understanding submission flows. So submission flows have got several elements that all work together. We've got submission stages. These are the stages in which a submission can exist, or the stages they pass through as they go from like a draft stage into submitted and so on. We've then got the submission form itself, which is filled in by the submitter or speaker. Email templates for the emails that get sent to them. Publish the flow, so where do you want to host your forms and so on. And then review stages if you're using a formal review process. Okay, so submission stages. In my example, I've got these ones: draft, submitted, accepted, slides requested, slides received, and a withdrawn stage. You can add your own, delete these. It really depends on what your process is. So you can use these to map out your own process and then automate a lot of the steps by using the submission stages to control things like the submission form. The submission form can have multiple different sections. In this example, I've got a speaker section, which I'm going to use to capture my speaker bio, headshot, social links, and so on. And also, in this case, I'm going to have a session section, which I'm using to capture session title and description. I'm also going to have a separate section for my slides, but for now, this is going to be hidden from my submitters. Also on your submission form, you can have different actions that can be performed. So in this case, I'm going to have a save for later button and a submit for review. These buttons are controlled by the submission stage itself. So in the submission stage, you decide what are the buttons that you want to put on your form and what do they do, what actions do they perform. Also associated with each submission stage is one or more email templates. So for example, as the deadline is coming up, you can send out a deadline reminder. And these emails can be set to occur at a specific time, or they can be triggered by events, which we'll look at later. Okay, so we've decided what our first stage is going to be, what the form is going to look like, what actions can be performed on that form, what emails are associated with this stage, and we want to publish it. This is where you set the URL or link for your form. And you can also set deadlines and associate those with each stage of the process if you want to. Okay, so that's my first stage. I have these actions on my form, so they can either save it for later and it will remain in draft, or they can press this submit for review button, and that button will have an action associated with it, which is to move it into the submitted stage. When it does that, it's going to trigger an email to say, thanks for submitting. That'll get sent to the submitter. You can also have internal emails that are sent to the team to say, we've received a new submission, log in and have a look. You can also control what happens to the submission form as well. So as it's transitioned from draft into submitted, I've now created some automations to continue to show the speaker and session sections of the form, but I've decided to lock them at this stage. I'm still not showing them file upload section because I'm going to ask that later on when I come to request the slides. And I've got some different buttons on my form now as well. So I've just got like a kind of done or a withdrawn button. I don't have a deadline associated with this stage because the submitter doesn't need to do anything. For this event, I'm going to run a review process, and here I can choose which questions to show to my reviewers. I've hidden the speaker questions because I want to run a blind review, but I'm showing them the submission details because I want them to see it so they can score it. And then on the reviewers form, I'm asking them some questions, like a score question and maybe some comments. Review stages sit alongside submissions, but they're not tied to specific submission stages. So you can run reviews at any point along your submission flow. They also will have some email templates associated with them for things like emails to reviewers to say you've been assigned a review and so on. In this case, once my reviews have come in and I've decided from those scores which ones I want to accept, I'm going to move some submissions from submitted into accepted. When I do that, that triggers the email to say your submission's been accepted. The form is going to stay exactly the same because there's still nothing for the submitters to do. And when I'm ready to start requesting slides, I'm going to move it again into the slides requested stage. So at this stage, I'm going to manipulate the form again. So as it transitions from accepted into slides requested, I'm now going to hide the original submission sections I'm now going to show them that file upload section. So it asks them, please upload your slides here. And the buttons are going to be slightly different on here. So I've got to kind of just back, submit my slides or withdraw my submission. And again, because I'm asking the submitters to do something, I'm going to set a deadline for this as well. And that's done again under Publish Flow. You can also set the deadline in the submission stage config view as well. Okay, once they've submitted their slides, I'm going to now show them all of their sections so they can see their speaker section, their submission, and the slides have uploaded. So they're all now visible, but they're all locked, so they can't now manipulate anything. And again, they've just got the back and withdrawn buttons, and I've sent them an email saying thanks for uploading your slides. At this stage, I want to perform a quick review on the slides just to make sure that the files that have been uploaded by the speakers are actually slideshows and they're going to work on the day. So I've got another little review process here. And this time I'm just showing the reviewers those file uploads and I'm giving them a simple thumbs up or thumbs down. Or I could add a text section so that the reviewer can get back to the submitter with any comments to say, your final slide is the formatting has gone wrong or something like that. So you can use review stages as a way for reviewers to communicate directly with submitters as well. Okay, so the final thing to talk about is if at any point the submitter clicks the withdrawn button, that will move it into the withdrawn stage. It's going to lock all the sections on the form, send them an email saying your submission has been withdrawn. So for all of these stages, we'll give you some defaults, but you can decide exactly what you want to happen on each of these stages. You might not have an accepted stage. You might have a whole bunch of extra stages that you want to add in here. But the point is, with each of these stages, you can show, hide, lock, unlock sections of the form. You can put different buttons on there. You can put some description text to tell them about where they are in the process and what to expect next. You can configure all the emails, what they say, who they go to. You can add branding to them. You can set deadlines. And you can also trigger other things like as submissions pass through these stages, you can add labels onto them to say things like speaker's been accepted. Now reach out to them to see if they need accommodation or something like that. So it's very flexible, very configurable, very powerful. So I'd encourage you to have a play around, look at how submission stages work, what happens with the submission form, how you can control that. This is all in the automations section under submission stages. So that's a quick introduction to submission flows and how the different elements within them work together and how you can control the flow and automate lots of steps in your process. As always, any questions, check out the docs and reach out to support if you're stuck. Thanks a lot. Bye.